If you enjoy stories like this, rooted in karma, conscience, and quiet transformation, please subscribe. I create many stories, meant to awaken compassion, and plant seeds of peace. Thank you, truly. Now, have you ever said something that you wish you could take back? A sentence, a word, even a joke, and once it left your lips, you knew it was too late. Because words can cut deeper than knives. They can shame, they can silence, they can scar. But they can also heal, lift, transform. Let me ask you something strange. If someone handed you a knife and asked you to swing it at a stranger, you'd say no. Of course you would. But how often do we use words like weapons and never think twice? Today's story is about a girl named Clara and a single sentence, just one careless phrase, that nearly destroyed a quiet boy named Matthew. Clara didn't mean it. She thought it was funny. She thought everyone would laugh. And they did. Everyone, except Matthew. What happens next is something you will never forget. Her name was Clara Miller, 17 years old, smart, charming, the kind of girl everyone listened to when she spoke. And him? His name was Matthew Cole. Quiet, awkward, a boy who often sat alone, writing things no one ever read. They were classmates, but not quite friends. Until that day. It was during literature class. They were reading poems. The teacher asked for volunteers to read their own writing. No one moved. Silence. Then, to everyone's surprise, Matthew raised his hand. He stood, shaky and soft-spoken, and began to read a poem he had written for his late mother. His voice was trembling. "There's a light that visits me in sleep. I think it's you, Mom, telling me not to give up." When he finished, the room was quiet, one of those moments where the air feels sacred. Then Clara laughed, just one little laugh, but loud enough to cut through the silence, like glass shattering. She didn't mean to. She didn't know why. She just laughed and said under her breath, "Wow, emo much?" The class chuckled. Some covered their mouths. Others didn't even try. Matthew looked up, eyes wide, then down, then he sat. He didn't speak for the rest of the day, or the next. He stopped raising his hand. He stopped showing up to lunch. Then, he stopped coming to school. Clara noticed. She even asked around, but no one knew, or cared enough to check. One afternoon, their literature teacher pulled Clara aside. He said, "Matthew is in the hospital. His father found a note. He tried to take his own life." The world stopped. Clara's throat closed. The note was short. "No one hears me. No one sees me. I don't want to be here anymore." Clara remembered that moment in class. The laugh, the words, the look in his eyes. She couldn't breathe. She went to the hospital. Asked to see him. They said, "Not now." So she left a letter. No clever words. No deep apology. Just truth. "Matthew, I said something thoughtless. I didn't know it would hurt so much. But it did, and I'm sorry. Not just for what I said, but for not listening when you finally spoke." A week later, Clara received a reply. Just one line. "Thank you for finally hearing me." Clara never spoke the same way again. She still joked. She still smiled. But every word was chosen. Every sentence had weight. Because once, her words almost ended a life. Now, she wanted her words to protect them. Let's sit with this for a moment. One sentence, one laugh, one careless moment, and someone nearly left this world. Words are not just sounds. They are energy, karma, seeds. And what we speak, we plant. The Buddha taught, Speak only when your words are more beautiful than silence. How often do we forget this? We speak to fill space, to be heard, to feel powerful. But the Dharma reminds us, not every truth must be spoken. Not every thought must become sound. In the Eightfold Path, one of the most sacred principles is right speech. What is right speech? The Buddha said, avoid false speech, avoid slanderous speech, avoid harsh speech, avoid idle chatter. Majjhima Nikaya. Let's look at each one. False speech creates distrust. Slander creates division. Harshness creates fear. Idleness creates waste. But when we speak with purpose, we bless others. When we choose silence, we protect them. In Clara's story, she didn't intend to harm, but intention is not enough. In Buddhism, karma is not just about intention, but impact. What you cause returns. What you release into the world shapes the world. If a word can end a life, a word can save one. The Buddha also taught, better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Dhammapada, verse 100. So now, let me ask you something deep. Speech balloon, when was the last time your words truly helped someone heal? And when was the last time they didn't? Did you apologize? Did you pause? Or did you justify it by saying, I was just being honest? Honesty without compassion is cruelty. Truth without care is violence. The karma of speech is one of the most powerful. It ripples long after you've forgotten what you said. But the heart you spoke into remembers. So I ask you now, what kind of world are your words building? Take a deep breath and think. How many words have you spoken just today? How many of them were necessary? We speak without thinking because silence feels uncomfortable, but the truth is, silence can be sacred. And words can be sacred too, if we treat them like fire. Fire can warm or burn, so can your voice. So today, I ask you, speech balloon, when you open your mouth, are you speaking to connect, or to control, to build, or to break? Not all words are violence, but some are bombs in disguise. Let me ask something uncomfortable. If someone took their life because of something you said, would you still defend it as just being honest? Would you? Tell me in the comments. Even if it hurts, even if it's messy, this is not about guilt. This is about awareness. And if you've ever been hurt by someone's words, or silenced by someone's judgment, leave a candle emoji below. You're not alone. We see you. Now here's a challenge that may divide opinions. Is it better to speak a hard truth that wounds, or keep silent, knowing your silence may let pain continue? Which is more cruel? Which is more compassionate? There is no easy answer, but we need to ask the question. And that's why I share stories like this, not to give you answers, but to open your heart to deeper questions. If this story touched something inside you, please share it with someone who speaks too quickly, or someone who was once silenced by words. They may never say it, but they might need this more than you know. And if you'd like more stories like this, gentle, real, rooted in Buddhist wisdom, subscribe to this channel. Here, we speak less, but what we say with heart. Because in the end, it's not about speaking more, it's about speaking with meaning.